You don't find the Torah in the Quran, people. You don't find the gospel in the Quran, people. Where do you find the Torah and the gospel? In the Bible. That's where you find it. But we're going to keep it moving. Go ahead, keep going.
In the Torah, we prescribe for them a life for a life.
It said, in the Torah, we prescribe for them. Now he's finna quote it. A life for a life. Go ahead.
An eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye.
A nose for a nose.
Mm-hmm.
An ear for an ear.
Mm-hmm.
Tooth for a tooth. An equal wound for a wound.
Equal wound for a wound. He said this is in the Torah. Now he's quoting the Torah. Go ahead.
If anyone forgoes this out of charity, it will serve as atonement for his bad deeds.
Mm-hmm.
Those who do not judge according to what God has revealed are doing grave wrong.
He said those who don't judge according to what Allah has revealed, they are wrongdoers. But notice, he just quoted the Torah. He said it was prescribed in the Torah. He said life for life, eye for eye, nose for nose, ear for ear, tooth for tooth, and wound equal for equal. Let's see if that was tampered with, because now he's giving you a reference. Let's go to the Bible. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 24. Let's go to Leviticus 24. He's even quoting it. He's quoting it, y'all. He ain't just telling you to read it. He's quoting it. Leviticus 24 and 19. That's why I say, man, Muslims don't read this Quran. We read the Quran here at Absolute Bible Truth. Don't let the name fool you. Just because it says Absolute Bible Truth does not mean the Bible is the only sacred book we read, or the only book considered sacred that we read. Leviticus 24 and verse 19. Go ahead and read.
And if a man calls a blemish in his neighbor,
if a man calls a blemish in his neighbor or a wound, go ahead.
As he hath done, so shall it be done to him.
Equal for equal. That's what Muhammad said, right? Keep going.
Breach for breach.
Breach for breach. What else?
Eye for eye.
Hold on. Eye for eye. Go ahead.
Tooth for tooth.
Tooth for tooth.
As he hath called a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again.
So Muhammad was telling the truth when he said that was in the Torah. He just said ear for ear and nose for nose, but it still don't make a difference because it said blemish for blemish. So he just went into more detail, you know, ear for ear, nose for nose, whatever. If you do it to him, he get to do it to you. But he just quoted the Torah. And you can find this in the Torah. Why is Muhammad quoting the Torah if the Bible is supposed to be tampered with? He would just be like, man, forget that Torah, man. The Bible tampered with, man. Just listen to what I'm telling you. He said in the Torah it says this, and we found this in the Torah, which means the law. We found it. But let's go back to the Quran. We're going to go to Surah 62. Surah 62. They're not reading you this Quran. They're not reading this to you. The Islamic teachers are not teaching you the truth about what the Quran says about the Bible. They want to make you think that the Quran condemns the Bible. Yes, there are teachers in the Bible, in the Quran that contradict the Bible. We're going to get off of that in another class. But the Quran plainly tells you, follow and obey the Bible. Over and over again. It never once speaks against it. Not one time. And I challenge any Muslim out there to show me anywhere in this Quran where it ever condemns the Bible. Not one time does it do it. Not one. But yet they come in our room all the time. You know, the Bible tampered with. Well, what are you? I'm a Muslim. You're a Muslim? So how can you say the Bible been tampered with? Because it's been tampered with. Where are you getting that from? Who told you that? Who told you that? Well, my teacher told me that. Well, your teacher lied to you. And we're showing you right now. Surah 62. And verse 5. 62 and verse 5. Look what he says right here. Go ahead.
Those who have been charged to obey the Torah.
He said those who have been charged to obey the Torah, right? Go ahead.
But do not so are like asses carrying books.
He said those who are charged to do what the Torah say, but don't do it, are like asses or donkeys carrying books. Go ahead.
how base such people are who disobey God's revelation.
It said, how base are such people who disobey God's revelation. It's calling the Torah or the Old Testament God's revelation. It said, how base are people that disobey God's revelation. Mine says, the similitude of those who were entrusted with the obligations of Torah, but who subsequently fail in those obligations, is that of a donkey which carried huge tomes, which means literary books. But keep reading. This is where yours stopped at.
God does not guide people who do wrong.
It said God does not guide people who do wrong. It just called the people who do wrong people who don't follow the Torah. Doesn't it say in the Torah, keep my Sabbath day? Do you see any Muslims keeping the Sabbath day? So that means according to the Quran, y'all asses. Didn't it say that? Didn't it? Read it again. Read it again, big baby. Read it again just to make sure I'm not making a mistake on something. It said those who don't follow the Torah, go ahead.
Those who have been charged to obey the Torah.
And don't let some others try to tell you, well, the Jews just had to obey it. I'm going to show you that, nope, everybody had to do it. I'm going to show you that everybody had to do it. Go ahead.
But do not so are like asses carrying books.
Like asses carrying books. Like a donkey carrying the book. A donkey ain't got no business carrying the book because a donkey can't read. It's too stupid to read. Go ahead.
How base such people are who disobey God's revelation.
How base such people are who disobey God's revelation. He even calls the Bible God's revelation. Now be honest, as a Muslim, the average Muslim, your elder didn't tell you this. The imam didn't tell you this. Go ahead.
God does not guide people who do wrong.
It said God does not guide people who do wrong. Who do he define as people who do wrong? Those who do not follow the Torah. And I do not see a single Muslim following the Torah. I do not see a single Muslim observing the Sabbath. I do not see a single Muslim wearing fringes. I do not see a single Muslim obeying the entire dietary law. Not just not eating pork. You got Muslims, they don't eat pork, and then they go to restaurants, they order shrimp and catfish and everything else. The Torah said you can't eat that stuff either. So according to the Quran, you are an ass. That's what it says, didn't it? But see, they ain't going to read stuff to you like this. They ain't going to let you see that the Quran points you back to the Bible, and it considers itself to be one book as the Bible. And I'm going to show y'all that. But let's go to Surah 5. Over and over again. Believe the Bible. Believe the Torah. Believe the gospel. Over and over again. Old and New Testament. Believe it. Even quoted it, didn't he? They're not reading this Quran. That's why every time you look at any major Islamic teacher, they always quoting the Bible. You never see a Muslim just do a show where it's strictly Quran. When was the last time you ever seen something like that? Even in the movie Malcolm X. Showing all the Bible. They arguing about the Bible. He became a Muslim. He arguing with that guy in the prison, the white priest. He arguing with him about something said in Revelation. When he first met Elijah Muhammad, they talking about Job. Why ain't nobody picking up no Quran? Even when Malcolm X became popular in the movie, he stood up and he said, I'm saying what the Bible says. I'm saying what the Quran says. When did you ever say anything the Quran said? Even in the movies. Every time you turn around, Muslims are quoting the Bible. They always quote the Bible. You never see them just do a whole lesson strictly from the Quran. A hardcore Quran lesson. That's what I want to see. I can give you a hardcore Quran lesson on any topic you want. Because I read the Quran just like I read the Bible. But they don't do it. But yet they want to condemn the Bible. If you were reading this Quran truthfully, if you were a true Muslim, a true submitter to the will of Allah, then you would not be dissing the Bible because you would know that you weren't saying it. You guys are just as guilty as the Christians. But Surah 5:68. Surah 5:68. Surah 5 and 68. Go ahead and read.
say people of the book.
And when the Quran talks about people of the book, it's talking about Jews and Christians, respectively. Sometimes it's mostly talking about Jews, but in other cases it's talking about Jews and Christians. He said, say people of the book. I'm talking to your Jews and your Christians. Go ahead.
You have no true basis.
You have no true basis unless what?
For your religion, unless you uphold the Torah.
Unless you uphold the Torah. Muhammad said, you have no true basis for your religion unless you uphold the Torah. Mine says, say, O people of the book, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand fast by the Torah. Finish reading what yours says.
The gospel and that which has been sent down to you from your Lord.
And that which has been sent down to you for your Lord. Muhammad is telling Jews and Christians to read their Bibles. Why would he do that if he knew they were corrupt? You can do any type of historical research and you will see that the same manuscripts that our modern day Bibles were translated from is what was circulating around in the days of Muhammad. That is too easy to prove. So where are you getting this tampered with mess from? Where are you getting this from? The Quran don't say it. Who's telling you this stuff? You got to start listening to these fake teachers who are not reading these books. They are not reading these books. They're not reading the Bible. They're not reading the Quran. They're just telling you what they think. Go to any average Islamic teacher and ask him, what does the Quran say about the Bible? Well, the Bible is corrupt. No, are you saying the Quran say that? Well, no, well, show me in the Quran where it says that the Bible is corrupt. Because if the Quran speaks of the Bible and it is corrupt, then surely Muhammad would have been warning his followers left and right. You better stay away from that book. You better leave that book alone. It's been tampered with. Only I got the revelation in this Quran. But finish reading what else he said. Go ahead. Start from the gospel.
The gospel and that which has been sent down to you from your Lord. For what has been sent down to you, prophet from the Lord, is sure to increase many of them in their
obstinate. What you say?
Mine say
insolence.
Insolence and defiance. Do not worry about those who defy God.
He said, do not worry about those who defy God. But he just told them, you have no basis unless you hold up the Torah and the gospel. That's the Old and New Testament. You find the Old and New Testament in the Bible. What Quran are these Muslims reading? That's what I want to know. Because no Quran condemns the Bible. There isn't a Quran out there that does it. But they condemn the Bible. These are fake Muslims. They are not true submitters to the will of Allah. Because if they were, they would submit to the will of Allah as written in the Quran, and they would do exactly what it said. Hey, I got to uphold the Torah. I got to uphold the gospel. You know, uphold means preach it and live by it. Obey it. Follow it. Do what it says. So where are my Sabbath-keeping Muslims? Somebody show them to me. Where are they? I don't see a single Muslim observing the Sabbath. Well, we go to Juma on Friday. The Quran told us to do Juma. Okay, you still supposed to be doing what the Torah say, though. He didn't say Juma replaces the Sabbath. Even if you still do Juma, where is the Sabbath at? You still supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. You still supposed to be keeping all the dietary law. You still supposed to be acknowledging the holy days. I don't see a single Muslim doing that. But they claim they believe the Quran. They don't believe the Quran. They don't even read the Quran. Because they would know this. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to Surah 10. Over and over again, Muhammad telling you. Over and over again. It don't even take that long to prove this either. This ain't going to be a long lesson. Don't have to be. Just show them what the Quran says. This Quran going to point you right back to this Bible. Every time, it's going to point you right back to it. And you see Muslims attacking Christians. They come in Christian chat rooms all the time. They come in our chat room all the time. Y'all need to